Greetings, this is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this is episode 20, Beginning Knitting, Casting On in the Knit Stitch. So today I'm going to teach you how to knit. We're going to learn to knit in a style called English knitting or throwing, sometimes called American knitting, and it involves holding the yarn in our right hand. There are some other methods of knitting. Continental, German, Portuguese. We're not covering those here today. We'll be covering English knitting or throwing. And I'm going to teach you how to put stitches on your needle so you can start a project. And I'm going to teach you how to do the knit stitch. So you'll start out by putting the stitches on one needle to get started, and you start with a slip stitch. So you'll take your yarn. This is the tail, the cut end, and the yarn then connects to my ball of yarn here. So I'm going to make a loop, and I call this yarn leading up to the ball. This is my working yarn. Okay, so I'm going to make a loop so my working yarn is on the top and my tail is on the bottom. And I'm going to reach through and I'm going to pull a loop through. At the same time, I'm going to grab the tail and the working yarn and I'm going to pull in opposite directions and I get a slip knot. Neat thing about a slip knot is that you can pull the working yarn and adjust the size of the knot. So I am going to put my knitting needle through this slip knot and I'm going to pull both ends of the yarn to get the first stitch on my needle. Now we're going to work at getting the second stitch on the needle. So you're going to take another knitting needle and you're going to take the pointy end and you're going to put it through this first stitch on your needle. So you're going to come at it from the left to the right or from the bottom of the needle to the top, and you're going to insert into this gap. See, there's a gap under that slip stitch. You're going to insert into that gap and make an X. You're going to take the yarn. You can hold both of the needles now in your left hand in a cross like this, and you'll take your right hand and you're going to wrap the yarn around the right needle clockwise. So you're going to come under and over the top, and then hold that yarn and hold the right hand needle now, and you will pull that loop through, and go ahead and pull it quite a bit through. You see how you have a new loop that you just pulled through. Take that loop and put it up on your left hand needle, and then you can pull a little bit to make it a little snugger, and you now have two stitches on your right hand needle. So let's take our left hand needle again and let's put it through that first stitch, because this is now the first stitch, this is the second stitch. So this is my first stitch on the needle. I'm going to take the yarn in my right hand and I hold these two needles in my left hand. You're going to wrap around underneath and clockwise, and then pull that yarn tight and grab the needle and pull the loop through and pull it out quite a bit so you can see that loop, and then lift it like this right on top of the needle. Okay, so that's 3 stitches on the needle. We're going to go for 10. So let's try it again. You now have 3 stitches on the needle. This, you can keep this last one you just did a little loose so you can get the needle through. So you put it through the needle. You're going to wrap underneath and over the top and pull that thread through and pull it out, and then you're going to lift it onto the left hand needle again, and you've now got 4 stitches on the needle. So let's try one more time. We're going to put our needle through the first stitch on the left needle. We're going to wrap it around and pull it tight, then grab your right needle pull that loop through and out, and then lift it onto your left needle. That's 5. Okay, so now we'll do 6. You insert your needle from left to right under that first stitch, hold both needles in your left hand, wrap clockwise underneath and over the top of the right needle, and grab that yarn and grab the needle, and then pull that stitch through and pull it out nice and loose, and put it over your needle again, left needle again, and then pull that a little bit tight, and you now have 6 stitches. So only 4 more. 7, 8, 9, we put the needle through the stitch, wrap it around, pull it through, pull the loop out, and put it on the left needle. And let's count our stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're going to do the last stitch, 10. Pull it through and put it on the needle. So that's how we cast on stitches to start our project. Now there are a lot of different ways to cast stitches onto your needle. This is called the knitted cast on because you actually knit the stitches and put them on the needle all at the same time. There are other ones called long tail or Norwegian, lots of different names and lots of different kinds, but this is the kind you are learning today. So here we have 10 stitches on our needle. Okay, so you now have 10 stitches on your needle that you cast on using the knitted cast on method. And now we're going to start our first row of knitting, and we are going to make a knit stitch on each one of these 10 stitches that we cast onto our needle. So you're going to hold your left hand with your stitches on it, your left needle in your left hand with the stitches on it. You're going to pick up the other needle in your right hand and go ahead and get your needle, get your stitches near the edge of the needle because you don't want to pull them as you drop them off. And watch what we're going to do with the first stitch. Now this should look really familiar because you did this to cast on your stitches. You insert the needle and you do the same thing you did cast on the stitches. You wrap the needle around and hold the right hand needle in your right hand and you pull that loop through. Except this time you're not going to pull the yarn all the way out and put it back on the needle. You're going to keep it close, okay? And so I will show you how to do that again. You're going to put your needle in and then you're going to wrap around and you're going to pull the stitch through, and instead of pulling it out, you're going to push your right needle through that stitch. And that's what makes the stitch the right size. And then you're going to scooch your stitch to the end and you're actually going to drop that stitch off the needle. And so now you have 1 stitch on your right needle and 9 stitches on your left needle. So we're going to do that again. We're going to insert our needle. We're going to wrap around clockwise and we're going to pull it through, push our needle through to size it, and then drop the stitch off the needle. That's 2. Now as far as holding your yarn goes, I find a pretty good way to do that is to do an overhand grip on your yarn so it's under there, and then take your index finger and slip it under and then hold everything together like this. So you've got your yarn under here and you've got your yarn over your index finger here and you're holding onto your right needle. So what you can do now is you can insert your needle into the next stitch. This is stitch 3, and you're holding onto your yarn here. You can let go of this needle because you're holding both the other needles in your left hand. You can wrap the yarn, grab the right needle again and pull it through. Size it by pushing the needle all the way through and then drop off. So we'll do that again. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. So I'm going to get the camera just a little closer for you so you can see what that looks like again. So insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. So you've done 10 stitches there. So we knit every stitch in this row. And now we've gotten to the end. So what do? We're actually going to turn it over. And you'll be looking at the bumpy side of the back now. And what we're doing is we're knitting every stitch in the row. And then in this row, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to knit every stitch in the row. When we do that, for every row, we get a fabric that looks like this. It's called garter stitch. In the next video, I'm going to teach you a purl stitch. And we can do a row of knit and then a row of purl. Get something that's called stockinette stitch that looks a little different than that. So right now we're working on garter stitch. We're knitting every stitch. So we're going to go ahead and do our second row. So hold your yarn, hold your needle with your stitches, your left hand, and just rest your right needle there. Go ahead and grab your yarn in an overhand, stick your finger under, and then grab your right needle, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to knit again. Okay, scoot your stitches up a little bit, insert as if to knit, wrap the yarn, pull through, and size. Insert the yarn, insert the needle, wrap the yarn, pull through, and size, and drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Now when you're inserting, make sure that you're inserting in this space between the bump and the needle. So insert, wrap, pull through, size, drop off. You'll notice too that when you're doing this, your yarn is in the back of the stitches here. It's back here. It's coming off the back of this needle. Okay, when you're knitting, your yarn should always be in the back when you're doing the knit stitch. So go ahead, do the next stitch, insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Now you could make a mistake, and if your yarn is in the front before you do this, you're actually going to create a new stitch by accident. This is a mistake that new knitters make quite often. So if you find out that you started with 10 stitches and you ended up with 12, chances are this is what happened. You had your yarn in the front and you went to knit. And when you do that, when you bring the yarn around to wrap, you're actually making a whole new stitch here by accident. So what that will look like is you will have actually a stitch there with a little hole under it that's not really a stitch at all. That's how you get an extra one by accident. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to undo that so we don't have that mistake there. And if you make that mistake when you're first learning to knit and you're just playing with doing a swatch, it's no big deal. But just remember to keep your yarn in the back, insert your needle, wrap the yarn, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert your needle, wrap around, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert your needle, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. Insert, wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. I think I went off screen there for a little bit. I'll do another row for you so you can follow along, and I will keep it on the screen this time, and let's see how that goes. So I usually insert my right needle and then I worry about picking up my yarn. I grab it, put my index finger, and go ahead and wrap, pull through, size, and drop off. And notice how I'm moving these stitches in my left hand up towards the end of the needle while I'm working. So I insert, wrap, pull through, size, drop off, 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 insert, wrap, pull through, size, drop off. There you go. And so you're starting to get this garter stitch pattern going. So I just suggest you keep knitting along and work on these 10 stitches until it gets nice and long. If you want to, you can just cut it off and start again and just do as many of these swatches as you can to get really comfortable with a knit stitch. Then come back to me for the next video that will teach you the purl stitch. So thank you for watching today. Bye-bye.